Very cool. Okay, I'm so excited to be here. Can you all hear me okay? Video's okay? Beautiful. Okay, if it's okay, I'm going to share my screen. I have some slides. Send request. Okay, let's see if it'll go. This one. Okay, beautiful. Can you see my whole screen, hopefully? Okay. How do I do this? There we go. Okay. So thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here. I need to change the view real quick. There we go. Okay. Bear with me. I'm not a super big tech person, but thank you so much for having me. As was introduced, my name is Ana, and I am so thrilled to be here. One, just to connect with TESOL teachers around the world, teacher to teacher. My heart goes out to you. But especially presenting this work, I hope you will see how much I believe in this work and also hope that it's something useful for you. But yeah, this is a really authentic thing for me to be doing. As we'll discuss, I am studying this in my graduate work at UH Manoa. And so I'm just so excited to be here, so excited to share. So as we get started, this is what we will talk through today. I'll give an introduction of myself and how I got into teaching. I'll explain some breath work and some of the limitations of breath work. We're going to do maybe like 5-ish minutes of breath work together, and we'll discuss that when it comes time. After we've done it and you kind of experience what it is, this magic thing I'm talking about, I'll explain the science behind it. I'll give 5 opportunities that you could choose to use it if you like. And then I have 3 additional strategies that hopefully are helpful for you in the circumstances you guys are in. So I'm really excited. I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, I'm attempting to leave about 5 to 10 minutes at the end if there's any questions. So, a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Ana. I'm from the United States. If you're familiar with the States, I'm from Colorado. I moved to Hawaii about 11 years ago. I moved to Big Island to finish my undergraduate degree in linguistics. And then once I graduated, I moved to Oahu. When I studied linguistics, I absolutely fell in love with it and I felt so aligned with language. And I knew I wanted to pursue my graduate degree, but I didn't know what I wanted to study yet. So I worked in sales in various capacities over like 6 years or so. And I enjoyed it, but I was ready to pursue my work at that point. So I began teaching English as a second language to adults. I started that in fall of 2023. And initially, I was really against teaching because it is such a hard job, as I'm sure you guys know. Like just it's just like it's from your heart, and your brain, and it's time, and it's just, I know you know. And I was really against it because I was like, it feels so defeating at times, like being a teacher, I feel. But I knew that that was a very key success or key step towards me finding success and fulfillment in linguistics. And so I was like, just do it, just try teaching out. And turns out I love it. I absolutely love teaching. It is my heart's passion. And in discovering that I love teaching, I was teaching ESL, but then I was like, oh, maybe I'll try teaching yoga. I really loved yoga in undergrad. It was a huge resource for me to lean on, as life is hard. And so I was like, oh, I will try this. And I started it's called RYT 200 hours, registered yoga teacher certification in the spring of 2025, so about a year ago. And I turns out loved that too. It's a yoga is really wonderful. I was working with a local studio and that was really great as well. And during the training, I learned about breath work. So now bringing us to today, I really believe in walking the talk. And so what I was learning about in my yoga training, I was actively doing. And it was really helping me. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. And so then I brought it to my ESL class. Everything that I learned, not everything, a lot of things that I learned in my personal life, I like to bring to them and tell them about my learnings. And this was one of them. And long story short, using breathwork in the ESL classroom really had an impact for my students. And it was a real world example where there was some really intense stress involved. And I was like, let's just try breath work out for a moment. And I watched their bodies just relax. And I don't have science for this, but I felt like we were able to learn more that day. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. So then bringing us to August of last year, I finally started my master's, and I believe I will be doing my master's thesis on breathwork and language learning, both because I experienced it and witnessed it working, but also because I think that there's a lot there, which we'll talk about today. And you might agree, you might disagree, but I think it's something that's really useful. So I'm excited to share. Oh, hello. Okay. So what is, oh, do we skip a slide? No, okay. What is breathwork? So breathwork is structured breath patterns. It focuses on the pace of air, not the amount of air. So again, the speed at which we're inhaling and exhaling, not about how much air is going in and how much air is going out. This comes from an ancient breathing system from Buddhism and yoga. And in yoga, it's called pranayama. In the original Sanskrit was pranayama, and it's translated as control or expansion of energy. So the breath was seen as expansion. I'm sorry, the breath was seen as your energy and your life force, and controlling it is where we get this grounded sense that supports our bodies.
Anna, I'm sorry, your presentation doesn't move. We see the first slide. Will you be
Oh
so
no,
kind?
really?
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay. Let me
No,
see.
it's the second. What is breath work? Mm-hmm.
Oh no, you guys are probably a little bit confused then. I'm so sorry. Um, okay, let's see real quick. Share. Maybe I need to share desktop. Can you see this now? Slides with
Uh,
myself on.
yeah,
Yes.
now we can see the
Oh no, guys, I'm
introduction.
so sorry. Please forgive me. I'm so
That's
sorry.
fine.
Okay. Anyways, carrying on. Okay, so this was me when I was a teacher, yoga teacher. This is me teaching, bringing us to present day. Okay. So, breathwork is structured breathing patterns that focus on the speed of air and controlling it, not the amount of air. It comes from yoga, meaning the control or expansion of energy and our life force. So, what this breathing does, this structured breath pattern, is it synchronizes our brain waves. So, we'll get into it, the science of it a bit later, but synchronizing the brain waves is what allows the different brain regions involved to communicate more effectively. So it's not necessarily about changing the way our brain is thinking or anything like that. It's allowing our brain to do what brains do better. What this does is it regulates our attention, our energy, awareness. It regulates emotional regulation. And because of that communication from the brain regions, we're able to make different and maybe better or more thought through decisions depending on what is going on in our lives. So, a phrase that was said to me during my yoga teacher training that I felt like really encapsulates and gives a visual for what this is this right here. It actually, I believe, has ancient Buddhist roots, but I heard it from my yoga trainer. And it's this: the mind is like a bird flying around in a cage with nowhere to land. The breath is like a perch. It gives the bird a place to land and the mind somewhere to rest. So, in these moments of stress and chaos that happen in life and in teaching, using our breath to just calm our bodies, re-engage our minds differently or better allows us to make different, maybe better decisions. So there are many types of breath work that you can do. In yoga, we have pranayama, ujjayi, bhastrika, nadi shodhana. There's so many. In the world of breath work, there's phrases like box breathing or 4-7-8 or unilateral nasal breath. There's all these different names. What we're going to do today is just a basic 4-6 count through only our nose, meaning that we inhale for 4, exhale for 6. And we're going to repeat this for a few minutes just so you can kind of get the feeling of what's happening. if you were to do this on your own afterwards, you can repeat it just a few times, like 3 to 5 times, or for like 3 to 5 minutes. But it's recommended not to do more than 20, just in case you aren't familiar. Okay, so I would like us to experience this. But first, I want to discuss some limitations just in case these apply to anybody. So there's definitely a caution for people who might have respiratory concerns, such as like COPD or asthma or any sort of panic disorders, among other types of respiratory concerns. I am not a doctor, I'm not a professional. I am qualified to guide us through this, but just to be clear, it's advised to talk with a doctor if you have any respiratory concerns. Breathwork is not going to fix all of our problems. We will go to sleep with the same problems we most likely woke up with that day. But like I've said before, it might help you handle those problems a little bit better or differently. So I would like us to do this now if you're okay with it. If it's okay, I don't mean to speak on behalf of the conference, but if you want to turn your camera off, I find it's a little bit more comfortable to experience if you don't feel like someone's watching you. But it's your choice. When I do this, I prefer my eyes closed. But again, your choice. I'm going to keep my eyes open just as the guide, but do what you like. So if you are ready, you can set your hands down, maybe on your desk or your knees, wherever you are. Maybe close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And we're just going to be for a moment. Just be in the room you're in, the seat you're in, the place you are. You'll notice the rhythm of your natural breath. Maybe it's fast or it's slow. Maybe it feels heavy or really quick. As you feel the air moving in and out of your body, we're going to take a big cleansing breath together. So we'll inhale through our nose, open mouth exhale. 2 more just like that. Inhale. Exhale through our mouth. 1 more. Inhale. Open mouth exhale. Now we're going to seal our lips so we only breathe through our nose only. You'll find your natural rhythm of breath again. Begin to lengthen your inhales to a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through your nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 4. Exhale 4. Inhale 4. This time, exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4. Exhale 6. Inhale 4. Exhale 6. Continue breathing like this on your own, inhaling for 4, exhaling for 6. I'll tell us when to move on, but until then, continue this breath. On your next inhale, we'll take our breath in together for a count of 4. 3, 2, 1. Open mouth exhale. 2 more just like that. Inhale through our nose for a count of 4. 3, 2, 1. Open mouth exhale. Last one. Inhale through our nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Open mouth exhale. With your eyes still closed, find your natural rhythm of breath. We'll be here just for a moment, just to act as a seal and end to our little practice. When you're ready, you can gently start to blink your eyes open. Let your eyes readjust. Maybe there's different lighting or sound. When you're ready, you can turn your cameras back on if you'd like, and I'll explain some of the science of what just happened. I'd be curious, could anyone maybe give a head nod or a thumbs up? Did you feel maybe a change in your pace or anything like that? Potentially? Okay. Where's my little, there we go. Okay, so what just happened is this. So in our bodies, we have the nervous system, and there's the central nervous system, and it's called the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system, when we look at this chart, is the pink in the middle. So it connects to our brain, but it's ultimately our spinal cord and our spine. And then the peripheral nervous system is the blue, and that's what goes out into our body and communicates. In this nervous system, there are 2 main states of being that we are in. We are either in the sympathetic, which I believe should be the right side for you guys, the fight or flight, or the parasympathetic, the rest and digest. When we are in the sympathetic, this means that this is how our body is responding to stressors. Our pupils dilate, we produce less saliva, our airways get bigger so we can intake more oxygen because our body's anticipating needing to fight or flight, right? Run away. Then in our parasympathetic, known as the rest and digest, this is when our body changes to show that we are calm and we feel safe. So our pupils constrict, our body starts making saliva again, our airways go back to the normal size, our heartbeat slows. Oh, oh, sorry. Okay, so what's happening here is that the breath is being used as the language of the body. So here's what goes on. Breathing is an automatic function of the body. We don't have to think about it typically. Our body just does it. And it is the only voluntary action that we can do that is within our autonomic nervous system, meaning that we can consciously control our breath to change between the states of sympathetic and parasympathetic. This creates, it's called a bidirectional relationship, so the two speaking to each other. And so through choosing through our breath, we're speaking to our body to tell our body which state we are in. This can rebalance our stress response system. So it's useful for stress, and it's also useful for health and emotional balance, all of which, of course, are useful in the classroom and the language classroom, but also just in life. So some opportunities that I see that this information is really useful. First and foremost, I feel is for teachers. Like I said in the beginning, this work is for the average person, is for language learners, of course, but first and foremost, I feel it's for teachers. Teachers are the backbone of education and of learning and much of how societies run. And so I feel teachers being able to use this as a tool in the classroom in moments of stress and overwhelm and just the various things that can go on. And then you add in the things that Ukraine is experiencing right now. And I hope that this is something that might be useful. The next opportunity is as classroom routine integration. So the idea here is maybe 3-ish minutes in the beginning, and in theory, 3 minutes at the end, but maybe just a few breaths instead. It can help support focus and discipline and the body needs for learning. This could also help support classroom culture. In my experience, more so through teaching yoga than teaching ESL, but I've found that doing breath work with either my yoga students or even like groups of friends and family that I've shared this with has really created just a nice bond that I think is really useful for learning, but especially given what you guys are going through right now, I think that could be really useful. Which leads me to student engagement. This is a wonderful way to keep the brain engaged. I regularly use this in class when either I'm personally a little sleepy or maybe a little disconnected from the content. It really helps my brain stay present so I can still hear and absorb. And this is fantastic for a tired or distracted brain that could use just a few deep breaths to refocus and re-engage, especially when the students are a bit younger. I think this is really beneficial. Probably a little bit trickier to get them to engage in it, but just, you know your students, so you know how to work with this. Two more opportunities would be in performance-based activities. So this calms the nerves to withstand discomfort, not get rid of discomfort, but just to make discomfort easier. You can do this when you're presenting in front of crowds, similar to how I'm doing now, although I am speaking, so it's a little challenging, but also with new language skills. Showing language skills practicing is, of course, a performance-based activity to some degree, and that can be so scary for people. And I found that this is really useful for students to just kind of get over that initial stage fright, perhaps. This helps pace the speech to maintain a more natural and smooth rhythm, and it keeps the brain engaged, like I said. A fifth opportunity is in real world interaction. So the story that I tried to tell here with the images is a family on the right side, and in theory, the father lost his wallet, and then the man in the middle, he found the wallet and he's gonna give it back to the family. That moment of needing spontaneous language production, or if they're needing something to happen quick, breath work can be a tool for that. It feels a little bit backwards that if we breathe slower, we can go faster. But personally, I found this to be true. But I also think that, and the literature suggests that this is something that the brain really benefits from, that giving the brain consistent oxygen at a controlled pace helps the brain function a little bit better and in theory quicker to be useful in moments like this. Three additional strategies that I would like to give you. This first one is called Ujjayi or Ujjayi Pranayama. That's the full frame, the full phrase. And what this is when you use your whisper muscles or your vocal cords. Sometimes it's called an ocean breath. It's where you use your vocal cords to kind of create texture or sound as you exhale. If you can hear me breathe, I'll try to show you. Give me just a second. Can you hear that? Maybe it's a little bit of a whispery breath. If someone is next to you, they might be able to hear you. What this does, though, the reason I share it is fantastic for when you are cold. As I understand it, Ukraine just experienced a very, very cold winter. And this would be something that would be very useful for you if you were to try it. Not the same, but I do use it in the various air-conditioned buildings in Hawaii. Super not the same, but it does really help. And it's like my greatest tool, honestly, when I'm doing various things. Another one that is literature backed and really wonderful is humming. So if you give a really gentle hum, barely audible, this calms the nervous system because of the vibration that is generated from humming. And it's fantastic when you're scared, overwhelmed, angry. I've also found it to be helpful after giving a presentation or doing some sort of performance-based activity, like when you walk back to your seat after a presentation, just a little hum just to calm the nerves so you can re-engage. That's very helpful. And this last one is called the 5-minute pause. It's from a paper written by Lissy Gorelnik, and Sonia Marcus. And basically, what it is having 5 minutes or maybe less, maybe more, just as a window of transition between events to allow your mind and body to shift, especially given what you guys might be experiencing day to day. And if you have the time, of course, giving yourself just that little cushion that you're not immediately going from A to B to C can be really beneficial in one, just being present and being able to take in all the information and respond as needed. But two, it also helps our memory as well, which I don't have noted here, but the literature does support. In closing, I would like to share this quote that I saw online and I personally really feel passionate about, especially as a teacher. A regulated person regulates others. So in either doing breath work or humming or whatever your thing is, even having your own hobbies that you might do or things like that, it's just something that's for you to fill your own bucket. Um, it has a ripple effect on other people, especially as a teacher. You are such a voice and a voice in the students' heads and in their lives. And being a person who is regulated and able to present to the students calm and with intention and all of that, it really has an impact on their lives. And maybe if they learn these tools, then they could teach someone else. And then suddenly we have a few more regulated people making decisions. And that can be truly, well, dare I say, life-changing. But that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for having me and for listening to me. There's a few minutes for questions if we have them, but otherwise, I have my email at the bottom if you would like to have any future reach outs. Thanks so much.